Welcome to Bullets and Brass. Today we are doing a brief introduction and comparison between the Vortex Viper PST Gen 1, 2.5 to 10, and the Primary Arms Gold Line 2.5 to 10. Now, these optics normally run roughly the same price range. Obviously the Gen 2 is out now and is the one you'll be looking at, and is slightly improved from this. There are definitely improvements made on this optic. But I don't have the Gen 2, I have a Gen 1, and I figured it was still a good comparison. This is a known quantity in the community. It is, Vortex in general is, people know it. They can go to the store and see it. So I figure that's a good reference point. The Primary Arms is, I don't know, this line was only out for a little while. They are updating it, so there's some new models coming out that are fundamentally the same. I just thought it'd be interesting to compare the two because they are intended for the exact same thing in terms of power, size, weight, but they have very different reticles. So first, side by side, there we go. So you can see that other than the sunshade, the Primary Arms is actually a little longer. These are equal back here. I know it doesn't look like it on video. So the end of the Primary Arms is here. The sunshade ends here. So it's a little longer. It is similarly weighted, same tube size, very similar glass. That was what I was most concerned with when I ordered, was how's the glass? Because glass brightness is critical. If you're looking at things later in the day, early morning, if the glass isn't really nice and clear and crisp, it's a pain. And historically, Primary Arms had good glass for the money, but it wasn't the best. It wasn't like really good glass. It was just really good for the money. This scope is now in that price range where you expect high quality glass. Not Schmidt & Mender, not Night Force, but good. And it delivered. I haven't gotten into the range yet. I haven't done precise comparison, but on the other hand, I've had two evenings now where I've gotten to look through both of them. And low light performance, I have to say, the Primary Arms seems to actually be gathering a little more light. It is tough to be sure without having them both set up so that I can look through one, quickly switch to the other. But definitely it's close enough that I'm not going, oh yeah, the Vortex is better, or oh yeah, the Primary Arms is definitely better. They're in the same ballpark. It makes a bigger difference when you change the magnification. I like it. It works well. It's very smooth. I have really enjoyed this optic. I am not taking it off this rifle. It is pretty much ideal for how I use this rifle. This one, and here, actually, let me move. Oh, there we go. Now we're not beating on the table, but we can see this one. This one has the same thing. The illumination is over here. You can adjust it on, off between settings. Let me make sure I did not leave that on. I did. Okay. Vertical, horizontal. So this is our left-right travel, up and down travel. We have a focus ring, which this one does not have. The Vortex is set at 100 and you're good to infinity. The Primary Arms goes all the way down to 25 yards and then goes all the way out to infinity. Now, how much that really matters versus just kind of you're close, I don't know. My plan is to test the Parallax adjustment at the range and get a little better feel for how well it really works and how much it really matters if you're not shooting for the tiniest little groups. The other thing this has, which Again, a lot of this has been covered in other videos that are actually available. I'm going to touch on them, but the bulk of this video is already over. We're going to do some shooting videos with it later. The turrets have stops. So right now it's set at the default setting. I push in and I can turn it. And if I go back to that spot, that's my zero. Locked in again. So what you do is you zero the scope. You get it all sighted in. So say that was zero. You would remove the cap, reposition it, resecure it. And that would make this that spot. So it would lock in at your zero. Now what that lets you do is, okay, I'm zeroed at, say, 100 yards. Because there's a reticle in here that helps you adjust for range and shoot at different distances. So I can just use that reticle. I can always go back to my zero spot that is set for the optic, you're good. Or if you want to use the scope and dial in a height, okay, I know that my load is plus 2 mils at this distance from my zero. Okay, plus 2 mils. There we go, dialed in, plus 2. Okay, next target's a little further. It's plus 2.5, 2.5, 3, 4, 4.5. Okay, we're done. Go back. There's my zero. Don't have to fiddle with it. Don't have to write it down. Don't have to remember it. Done. This one, same thing. Push in, you can turn it. Turn it back to zero, clicks in. And it's measured in mils. Now, the beauty of this optic, and you have to look it up, the ACSS reticle, if Primary Arms had done nothing else for the shooting community, they had not introduced reasonably priced, high quality optics, if they weren't one of the best deals around for buying stuff in general, introducing that reticle and perfecting it and putting it out there on the market would have made their name. It is considered by quite a few people to be the reticle for dynamic shooting. If you need to shoot at different distances and you need to be able to figure out what those distances are, figure out what your hold is, adjust for windage, adjust for somebody moving, it does it all. There are other videos about it. They're well done videos. I'm not going to get into all that. I will be doing other videos of the glass itself once we get it to the range and I can put the camera between both of them back and forth. The Parallax, the zeroing system, comparing the magnification. The eye box on this at 2.5 is awesome. The one at 10, it's a little snug, but not crazy. It isn't like, oh my God, that's too tight. I can't kind of settle in. I didn't feel like I was fighting it to stay in position. I didn't think it was quite as good as the Vortex, but the Vortex is deceptive because it has very crisp edges when you move out of the sight box. So instead of getting that blurring around the edge, you basically just get like a crescent. We'll give it a try. My hope is that I get to shoot this tomorrow. If not, then soon. This build in general, I really want to get shooting. My SBR, I really want to get shooting. I haven't shot it with the new upper. So, thank you for watching. Have fun. Stay safe. Take care, all.